The Hungarian Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade, Péter Szijjártó, is set to hold a bilateral visit to Rwanda in November, where he will also deliver about 100,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines to the country, according to the Hungarian Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade, who is also the chair of the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe. Migration crisis can be solved if European countries work towards supporting the economic development and empowerment of Africa and African people, respectively. Earlier today, Péter Szijjártó spoke to my colleague Athan Tashobya, and he started by underlining two major issues between Africa and Europe.
Well, I think the two major issues are definitely migration and vaccination.
Yeah.
Basically, these two have a strong interdependence, putting into consideration that more harms the a pandemic causes, the more people will hit the road again, and the stronger migratory waves will be launched. And this is something that we have to prevent. Europe has been under a very strong pressure of massive illegal migratory flows. During the last years, mostly from the southern direction, from Africa, mostly from the sub-Saharan part. And that's why we urge the European Union to implement a cooperation with the African Union in a way that investments take place here with European assistance, modernization of the African countries takes place with European assistance, development programs to be carried out here with European assistance, because we understand that the more we can contribute to the success of the African countries to develop, to be modernized, the less people will make a decision to leave these countries. And I think it would be much more important to encourage people to stay and to contribute to the modernization of your very countries than encouraging people to leave and come to Europe, because then you lose your best brains basically, and you will miss them.
Don't you think we are too late to be discussing these issues?
Well, we have been discussing these issues for the last 6 years, to be honest. And again, honestly, I have to tell you that European Union has made an awfully lot of mistakes in this regard. You know, the institutions in Brussels and some Western European countries tend to speak about the need to encourage illegal migratory flows and generally migratory flows instead of carrying out investments here in Africa in order to make circumstances appropriate for people to stay. So you might be right, we are very late, but hopefully not finally late, you know. So hopefully we still have some window of opportunity, some time slot which we can take advantage of, and we can turn around the tide and encourage people to stay in their home countries. We understand that the investments are needed for that, and we Hungarians are ready to contribute.
Let's talk about COVID-19 vaccines. There's been lots of inequalities, and you have a role as a member of the EU to have been the solution to making sure that COVID-19 vaccines are equitably distributed.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Aren't you disappointed that these issues have risen?
I can understand your disappointment. We were disappointed at the very beginning also in Europe that the main producers have rather delivered their vaccines to US, UK, Israel, and they have not fulfilled their contractual obligations towards the European countries. Why we were still successful was that we looked at the vaccines as of tools to save lives of the people and not as ideological ones. So that's why we bought also vaccines from Russia and China, and with that we could fulfill the gap, and we could be very quick at the beginning of the vaccination campaign. We were the first country in EU to reach 60% of vaccination. Now, I totally agree with you that a fair sharing should be ensured, and in this framework, we have already donated 455,000 jabs of vaccines to African countries. Now we allocated an additional 200 in the framework of the Turkey Council assistance to African countries. And when I return here in November, I'll bring 100,000 jabs of vaccines to Rwandan people also, in order to accelerate your vaccination campaign.
Let's talk about Rwanda-Hungary relations. You're coming back in November,
Yes.
like you said. How would you describe the relationship between the two countries?
Look, it's based on a mutual respect. I think this is the most important stuff when it comes to bilateral relations. We have to respect each other. We should not lecture each other. We should not tell us each other how the other should live his or her own life. We have to respect our internal situations and internal decisions. And this is the most important between Rwanda and Hungary. There has always been a mutual respect. We never interfered into domestic issues of each other. I would like to upgrade the cooperation on the field of economy. That's why we offer a Thai aid credit program for Rwanda in order to carry out investments on the fields of water management, food processing, agriculture, IT, telecommunication, in order to modernize your areas of industry. And on the other hand, we expect the upgrading of the relationship from the scholarship program to be fully utilized, and we have a plan to form the Joint Economic Commission between the two countries, and I hope that these endeavors of mine or ours will be successful after the visit of mine.
You signed in 2020. You signed a strategic agreement, between Rwanda and Hungary. What has been some of the key areas of development so far since that time?
Well, I think the most important thing is to ensure the possibility for our companies to come to make business here and investments here. What you need for that is a certain legal and a certain financial background. That's why Exim Bank has opened a credit line in Hungary to finance Hungarian-Rwandan business-to-business cooperation. We think that the agreement on mutually protecting investments and avoiding double taxation would also be very important, because once you have a certain background legally, a certain background financially, then you can definitely encourage your companies to make more business with each other, and that's the key. Political relationship is important because bad political relationship can pose obstacles to good economic relations. But if you have good political relations, then you have to utilize on them, and you have to encourage the companies to make business with each other.
Do you have some numbers that you can put in that, especially the Exim Bank agreement?
Yeah, $50 million of credit line will be open, and we hope that will be fully utilized by the companies.
Okay. Now, you also understand that your government is offering scholarships to Rwandan students. I think the most recent one was 20
scholarships, yeah.
20 scholarships. What is more that Rwandan students should expect that will probably into reducing the illegal migration, not from Rwanda, but that's probably a strategy that you're approaching to discourage illegal migration, but also encourage education and legal movements between the two countries.
Yeah, for us it's obvious that you can fight the phenomenon of illegal migration successfully in case you offer some alternative, and the alternative is good circumstances at home. Instead of leaving, stay there. And how you can help it is help the modernization process. How you can help the modernization process is through education and training. And we are happy to train 20 Rwandan students every year, fully financed by the Hungarian state, in order to have them contribute to the modernization of your country. So you're totally right. The only successful way of fighting illegal migration is a respect-based cooperation, and that's what we try to do with most of the African countries.
Good luck.
Thank you. We'll need it.
Péter Szijjártó, the Hungarian Foreign Affairs Minister, thank you so much for finding time to speak to us here on RwandaTV.
Thank you very much for this invitation. I was honored by that.